Hey, welcome to Footy Fan, and we are now on the eve of the first test between the Wallabies and the British and Irish Lions here in Brisbane at Lang Park, aka Suncorp Stadium. In around about 24 hours, we'll know the result. The anticipation is killing me now. It's very exciting, yeah, look, it's all about to happen finally. But look, there's been a lot said and a hell of a lot of YouTube videos this week running over the squads, making predictions, who's better in the air, who's better at the breakdown, who's better in scrums and mauls and lineouts. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm just going to look at a couple of aspects, a couple of historical comparisons, and a little prediction or two. So something a bit different here. Now, the Wallabies, of course, in what might be seen as a bit of a gamble, are really playing two debutants. Now, I count Michael Liner's son, Tom Liner, as a debutant. He's starting his first ever test. He has come off the bench in 4 tests in 2024, including against Wales mid-year, and then later in the year on the autumn tours. But I'm counting him as a debutant, and likewise number 6, Nick Champion de Crepinier, who has played just 1 season of Super Rugby after playing in the French top 14 for Castres for several years. He's 29 years of age. He did play in the top 14 final that was lost to Montpellier. But yeah, two debutants. Now, looking back over the last 3 Lions tours prior to this one, back to 1989, there have been other debutants. And this is not necessarily an exhaustive list, but in 1989, Queensland fullback Greg Martin made his test debut in the first test against the Lions in Sydney, and indeed he scored a try in that test. Sadly, in the third test, he was involved in a definitive moment where Campo threw a bit of a speculative pass to him just on the try line that was spilt and resulted in the Lions winning try. But yeah, that was 89. In 2001, Justin Harrison, lock, at a fairly advanced age, made his test debut in the third test, the series deciding test in Sydney. And famously, he stole a line out off Martin Johnson very late in the game when the Lions were attacking. I almost said George Smith made his test debut in that series, but in fact he'd made it the previous November. And Andrew Walker, great athlete, Aboriginal man who came from NRL, was either a debutant or playing in his first few tests in that series. In 2013, in the first test, we had Israel Folau and Christian Lealiafano making their test debuts. Also forward, back rower Ben Moen made his debut in that series as well. So, look, it's a bit of a gamble in my mind to be blooding test debutants in a Lions series, particularly in the first test, but there are precedents for it, clearly, for the Wallabies against the Lions. Now, speaking of parallels, I want to draw a few parallels. I've noticed a few between 2013 and this year, 2025, particularly in relation to the first test played in Brisbane, now at Suncorp Stadium, aka Lang Park, as it was in 2013. First of all, as I've just said, Australia fielded at least 2 debutants in 2013 in that first test, Israel Folau and Christian Lealiafano. Differing fortunes for those two. Israel Folau scored 2 great tries, whereas Lealiafano, sadly, at 12, was knocked out in the first minute of the game. He was the goal kicker, and that ended up having dire consequences for the Wallabies. It was basically missed goal kicks and Curtly Beale slipping over for what would have been a winning penalty kick after full time that lost the game for the Wallabies. So 2 debutants then, as there are 2 debutants tomorrow night for the Wallabies. In addition, back in 2013 in the first test, there were 2 ex-NRL players in the Wallabies backline, Israel Folau and at fullback Berrick Barnes. Likewise, this year, there are 2 ex-NRL players in the Wallabies backline, fullback Tom Wright and centre Joseph Sua'ali'i. And, of course, another parallel between the 2013 series and the 2025 series is that the Wallabies have New Zealand coaches in each. They had Robbie Deans back then, Joe Schmidt now. So what does this all mean? Well, look, I have to also say that going back to 1989, sadly, the Wallabies have lost the Brisbane tests in 1989, in 2001, and in 2013. I really hope that trend doesn't continue tomorrow night. But am I confident of a Wallabies win? Not necessarily. But as Australians, we love the underdog status. It's backs to the wall. No one expects us to win. There's nothing to lose. This is what we relish in. This is the hope I'm holding on to. All right, enjoy the build-up to this Lions test and bring it on. Can't wait for tomorrow night. See ya.